Welcome back to Mastering Avantra. Today's session is all about dynamic custom checks. How do you provide runtime information to your Run.js custom checks or even your standard custom checks using the concept of variables, which we call custom monitoring parameters. In this session, I'm going to take you through how to set up a custom monitoring parameter and how to use it in a very basic situation. A good example would be, let's say you were trying to access a file that might be in a different place on a SUSE system versus a Red Hat versus a Windows system. How do you provide this information at runtime to the right scripts on the right servers? So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm here in my standard Avantra system, and I've actually set up a custom check ahead of time, a very simple one that says hello. So you can see here it says var what to say is equal to hello world, and it sets the output of the check to that message. This check is currently executing on two of my servers. So you can see here the result is showing up as hello world in both cases. This is not surprising. But actually these two systems that I'm working on, which are these two here at the top, have different operating systems. So what I'm going to show you is how do I influence the output of this check based on the operating system type and not have any if or else or any of that kind of stuff. It's completely variable based. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a monitoring parameter, like a variable, which we can use to influence this check. We do this by going to administration and settings and into the section called custom monitoring parameters. Here we can define the global custom monitoring parameters that we're going to have in our Avantra world. So the customer namespace always starts with CUST dot. So that distinguishes it between standard Avantra provided monitoring parameters and your own custom ones. So I'm just going to say ma-hello-world. The system type I want this to be available on is the server, but you can see here I can do it on an SAP instance, system, and all the monitored objects. So I'm going to do it on the server. And I'm going to say that this is a string type monitoring parameter, but I have lots of different options here from Boolean right through to time measurement. So I'm going to hit string, and we see here now we have created our custom monitoring parameter ma-hello-world of type string. The next thing I can do is, and I encourage people to do this, is to provide a description. What are you using this for? So this is for an example for mastering Avantra. And the default value I'm going to say is hello world MP, standing for monitoring parameter. So now we have a custom monitoring parameter called ma-hello-world of the type string, and it has a default value. So now how do I use this in my script? So let's pop back to our custom check. And here, where I'm saying the variable what to say is equal to the string hello world, I'm going to change this to now use our monitoring parameter. So I'm going to say monitored system dot get moni param, and I'm going to put in the name of my monitoring parameter. I'm just going to copy and paste it so that I don't get anything mixed up or mess up my spellings. So copy, and I'll paste this in here. So now what we have made is a dynamic custom check, which is going to decide what to say based on the variable that is stored in the monitoring parameter cust.ma-hello-world. And if I go in and view these, we can already see that both of these systems have executed the checks about 11-12 seconds ago, and now they're showing the result hello world MP. So we know they are pulling the default parameter or the default value we set on our monitoring parameter. So now let's go a step further. Let's say I want my Red Hat servers to show something different to my SUSE servers. How do I do that? Well, ahead of time, I set up some system selectors. So I have all my Red Hat systems coming out on this one. See, you have those there. And I have all of my SUSE systems on this one, coming out there. So I have my collections of systems defined. The next concept I'm going to use is parameter sets. So here I have parameters that apply to my Red Hat systems and parameters that apply to my SUSE systems. And they use those system selectors I saw earlier. Here's where it gets cool. Now I can override what is in my monitoring parameter based on these systems. So here I'm going to say new monitoring parameter. And I'm going to search my cust.ma hello world. There it is. And we can see here that the default value is hello world MP. And I'm going to say hello from rel. And I'll apply that one. And then on the SUSE one, I'm going to do the same thing, but just give it something else. I'm going to say, so cust.ma, hello world. I'm going to say hello from SUSE. Just like that. So now what we've done is we have overridden the value of the variable based on the system type. Now, I could choose to have these parameter sets based on the application that's on the system. I can do it ad hoc, or basically the list is endless, and you can override these in an order of priority, which makes it really, really powerful. So let's go back to our systems here, and we see that, okay, they're still showing hello world MP. What we need to do now is we need to send the updated configuration to the servers so that when they execute this script, they utilize the latest information in those monitoring parameters. I do this by simply sending the configuration to these two systems just like that. Now, if you waited 5 minutes, guess what? This is going to happen by default anyway. So if you're sending this to, thousands of systems at once, you may not want to push out just that configuration. Simply wait 5 minutes and you'll see this stuff start to update. Now we go back into MA say hello, so the output of our checks, and immediately we can see that our Red Hat system is saying hello from rel, our SUSE system is saying hello from SUSE, and just a reminder, our check has none of that defined in there. So I could use this information to figure out what command I want to execute, where the location of a file is, and so on and so forth. You can even utilize these monitoring parameters in standard custom checks, as in non-run.js custom checks as well. So if you were doing, let's say, a server check for file content, and let's just do test on this one. When you're defining where the file location is, and this is all covered in the documentation, you're also able to say, actually, I'm just going to copy and paste this in. This is covered in the documentation. But you can decide to use those custom monitoring parameters as well. So in this case, this would be cust.ma hello world, and that will resolve to the correct variable at runtime. So this is an immensely powerful concept within Avantra. So that's it. So what have we covered? We have covered the setting up of a custom monitoring parameter. We have covered how to integrate that into your run.js custom checks, and also how to do them into standard custom checks. We've covered how to override the value in those monitoring parameters at runtime based on parameter sets. And one of the things I didn't mention is you can actually go into individual systems and override the parameter at the system level as well. So if you've, edge case scenarios that aren't covered by parameter sets, you can go in and override those as well. So this is a really powerful concept. I hope it's been useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.